Greetings and welcome to the Saroth the Mage experiment. Coming to you one night late and two members missing. My fault, a slight technical hitch. Leah and Bobby and Groucho were all here, and kind of like Denny's interview, we lost a whole recording there. Well, yes. So sorry about that, guys.
It's
So
okay.
it's just stuck with Bobby. You just stuck with Bobby Hale. 111 from Kingsport, listening post alpha. So how's it going, Bobby?
It's going well. Nice chill day. Nice Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I've been resting too. So this new book that's coming out, Bobby, it is out. In fact,
Mhm.
it's been out a while.
A couple of weeks.
Listening post alpha year one. Your previous books have been quite short and just kind of an introduction. Would you say this is like a more comprehensive look at the work that all of us do, but I think you and Leah do the most, to be honest. Groucho next, and then I barely contribute anything. But
Yeah, I think the first two books, like the Book of Numbers, and this is kind of like my itinerary for the next few years is to release like this. Like first we'll do a Book of Numbers every year, and then we'll do Temple Grimoire, explaining the erogenous zones of the Temple BC, and then we'll do the Listening Post Journal for the year.
yeah,
And the Listening Post Journal is kind of it's like a journal of the applied sciences of the temple.
yeah. It reminds me a bit of the equinox, to be honest. I can see it becoming an equinox
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean
do an
it's
annual one.
that's I mean that's definitely one of the influences for sure.
And so, I mean, when you say you're going to do one with specific methods, like a workbook,
Mm.
but I think if you read the LPA journal, you pretty much explain how to do the core Temple Babylon Coronzon, sorry, listening post stuff.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If you read LPA one, have a spirit box and a pencil and paper. You can be doing English Kabbalah and Temple Babylon Coronzon listening post work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no mystery as to what our methods are if you read this book. Yeah, for sure. And there's no mystery to the application. Like you might read, for instance, you might read like our Book of Numbers and be like, well, that's all really interesting, but like, what's the application here? And
Absolutely.
then the Listening Post Alpha will show you. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I know we've done two interviews before, and I'm never quite sure how what I've asked you, but how did it really coalesce into what it is now? I know it's been a process since about 2018, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I guess Leah and I got together in 2018. We started doing a lot of experimental or oracular work, using dice, using books that we thought were holy, like The Ninth Arch by Kenneth Grant, uh, referencing Crowley 777 for correspondences and all that good stuff. And then later we revisited the ALW Cipher, English Kabbalah, and started
Yeah.
working with that. I guess around the end of 2019, and then early 2020 is when I had the experience that I refer to as the ear apparent, where like all these different elements came together while I was watching Firewalk with Me by David Lynch,
Mm-hmm.
the movie about Twin Peaks.
Great
The,
movie.
there was a dead prostitute on the laid out on the gurney, and they're kind of looking at her body. Agent Cooper pulls a cutout letter from underneath her fingernail, and the letter was T. And I was sitting when I first saw this is the first time I've ever seen this movie. And I was sitting at a table, and in front of me was just a big old pile of cut up slivers of paper and whatnot.
The
And
accursed pile.
the haunted and accursed pile is what we call it. And so being the experimenter that I am, I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a piece, out of the pile here and see what it says, and I didn't look, you know what I mean? There was no trickery.
No cheating.
Yeah. And I picked up a sliver that said, "See myself." I thought, well, that's interesting. Don't know what it means. And then I went ahead and checked it out by the cipher, and see myself equals 141, which equals the corpse, and it also equals Teresa Banks. Yeah. Teresa Banks was the character who was the corpse laying on the gurney. And I didn't realize until much, much later, actually, that I think it was the surrealists, maybe Breton, Andre Breton, who did this work that predated any of Burroughs' work with the cut-ups. And it was called, what was it called? It was called like the Immaculate Corpse or something like that.
Oh yeah, that does ring a slight bell, actually. Yeah,
something like that. And so it was like I definitely entered into a current that I had been probing for years and years, and I had been for years and years trying to get this link between the cut-up method and gematria, and I was never really able to get it perfect, but with this method, it seemed like it just cut straight through the noise, and in a way that was like overwhelmingly obvious, so it's like you don't have to
when you've been hit.
I'm looking at Teresa Banks, the character. I pull a piece of paper that says "See myself," and then there it is. That's what it equals. That's what the phrase equals by the cipher.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's really all interesting, and I didn't really connect it with Twin Peaks per se. I made note, and I started getting more into David Lynch. That week, I was like, man, I really need to get down with some David Lynch. I had already watched the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks. By that point, I still hadn't watched the 3rd season. Like I said, this was the first time I'd ever seen Fire Walk with Me, and I had also never seen the film Blue Velvet, and so I checked it out, and there's this scene where, I guess one of the very first scenes is Jeffrey Beaumont's character walking through the suburbs, and he finds
a bit of an ear, doesn't he?
Yeah, he finds an ear over in the field, and then it starts this kind of Klepothic journey into the night side of his sleepy neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it is like the dark side of the pleasant American suburbia.
Yes,
So
Lumberton.
Yes.
Yeah, Lumberton is what the town is called.
Yeah. So methods, how do you do daily practice? I'm pretty sure you do some kind of daily practice, but it's not going to necessarily be full scale. Rituals using the banishment ritual. How often do you do that?
The banishment ritual. I mean, every once in a while, when I feel that I need to. And the thing about the banishment ritual is, as it's evolving, there are different times to enunciate different lines or to concentrate on the different lines in the actual banishment that I've noticed are really important. But yeah, I went so long between, let's see, I did it real heavy last month. And I went so long in between doing it that I had to, look at the book and remember it,
relearn it.
Yeah. I had to literally relearn it. But it had its wonderful effects on my life immediately. It helps open me up to different possibilities from what I was dealing with, and like the things that were blocking me, holding me back, and making me feel like shit. And it worked
That's
wonderful.
what it does. It just removes blockages, like
Yes.
Drano.
Yeah.
Well, when I think we mentioned before, when I did it, and I've only done it once, I'm scared to ever do it again. I mean, no, I'm only joking.
Yeah.
I will do it.
Well,
But, you know, my 4 years of a kind of phantom life, like you wrote in that thing the other day, were removed, and it has, like, you know, my channel has been fucking popping since.
Yeah.
You know, being honest, being single for me just now is probably the right thing. So I've got into guitar. I feel like I'm creative. There's still a few little tweaks.
Nobody's perfect.
A lot,
You know what I mean?
But yeah,
Magic won't make anyone perfect. Nobody, and you don't even want to. Nobody wants to be perfect. Fuck that.
Nobody wants to be perfect, and magic will make
Yeah.
you crazy.
Yes.
That's what it makes
Absolutely, but crazy in a good way, hopefully.
you. Yes, I hope so. Yes. Well, the endless creativity of you and Leah and Groucho, you know, always amazes me. I do the odd report and stuff, but you seem to be able to work, look after children, and get all this stuff done. And I actually said to you yesterday in a text, you're gonna have to take some rest sometime, Bobby. You're like fucking a magical engine.
Yeah.
Do you ever sleep?
I can't stand it. As soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm gone. Like, yeah. But you know, like even my dreams, I'm working. You know, like I have some good dreamless sleep. You know, a lot of the night, but then usually
yeah, I love
upon
that.
waking or upon going to sleep, I'm still doing some some work. Yeah.
That's the best time in light sleep, definitely. So you're kind of half in it.
Receptive.
The old liminal state.
Yes.
So what's been happening most recently? I've kind of, it's not that I've not been paying attention, but I've been so busy with other stuff lately. So,
well, yeah, we've been doing a lot of work. We did most recently. So we're in what's called in the English Kabbalah tradition the 418 season. They call it that because Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn equal 418 by the cipher. House 418, if you're familiar with the book.
418 is the old sort of Hebrew number for the great work as well, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so last 418, I kind of hit out, honestly. Didn't write anything, nothing. And didn't do any magical work really, and just kind of took it low because of some oracles that I received, and one of the oracles I received actually for what I was to do during that time actually ended up putting me in peril. So,
really?
Yeah. Like I don't really want to talk about that, but
okay.
Yeah, this 418, I decided that I was going to go back and work some stuff that I had been interested in, or that I had kind of worked a little bit in the past, and kind of be more serious about it. So
is that like the Voodoo workbook and stuff?
Yeah. So for Libra season, we did this is stuff that we were told to do by the Listening Post Alpha sessions, by the way.
Okay.
So for Libra, we did a month-long Horus Mayout Lodge self-initiation. That'll be in the next Listening Post Alpha journal. To amazing results, by the way. Amazing results.
Fantastic.
And so we're now self-initiated members of the Horus Mayout Lodge.
As am I.
Yes.
Long time ago.
Yeah, Steve's been a member for a long time.
Yeah.
And Groucho also did the same. And then we did some more work with Mayout Magic. We did Nima's.
Really Matt Magic.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't even know, and my last show was on Matt Magic.
Yeah. And then
Chances. It's a
Yeah,
synchro-mystical web, man.
yeah. Well, and we've corresponded a little bit with Denny Sargent and
Oh yeah, Danny.
Andre
Brothers recommends.
Conscientia. He was the one that kind of showed me what I needed to do self initiation or whatever. And
He seems like a really interesting guy that I wouldn't mind on the channel
I
at
mean,
some
man,
point.
he's an amazing author. Everything I've read by him, and is amazing. And we'll talk about him in a second. But the so then at the near the end of that that month, I got this message through one of the listening sessions that the next work we were to do was with the Temples Araguen and Grimoire Getty and the Voodoo Gnostic workbook by Michael Bertillot. And we had done work. Originally, when we first started doing work with the Temple, now I had worked with Mayout Magic good Lord, years ago, like a long time ago. I had the copy I have of Mayout Magic is like my second or third copy right now.
Oh yeah,
we'll probably have to get another one because this one we've taken it out and done Moonlight. We did the
books are for.
We did the Moon
in your shelf.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. I also wanted to mention we did the Moon Cup Rite, which was amazing. And I kind of have a thing about. I mean, we live in the suburbs, kind of. We're kind of out in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, but we're also kind of like our neighbors aren't that far away, and we have a lot of space out here and woods and stuff like that. But we have this circle that when I first moved in, there was a lot of like rubbish down here. My mother was living here pretty much by herself, and she was disabled for a while. And I mean, she miraculously, like the goddess that she is, she got herself back together. And I mean, wow. We thought and she works, a really good job and takes care of herself. And she doesn't live here anymore. We live here. We pay my mother rent. That's how we afford it. Yeah. But we pay the bills here and everything. We're pretty we're normie dudes.
You're hardworking people.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, we both work full time and all that, and we've got 4 kids that we take care of, and they're well fed and well behaved and all that. But so also by night, we have a very active nightlife and creative life, as do they. And so we did the Moon Cup ride on the full moon during Libra.
Outside.
Yeah, outside down in this area where when I first moved in, there was all this rubbish down there. And I just started cleaning it up one day just out of boredom, just to kind of see what's down here. Leah's son, he would like go and he ran like a path through it, right? And I was kind of like, I kind of always study him and what he's up to. And I'm like, as the kind of like the little Harpocrates or whatever,
Yeah, totally.
Kind of take his lead sometimes, and
they're
so
instinctive. They haven't been programmed yet. Sorry,
I was kind of afraid there might be snakes or stuff like that, and so I started clearing it away. And I mean, what do you know? There's a damn stone circle that's perfect for ritual or any kind of thing like that. And growing up out of the stone circle were 2 twin sycamore trees. Like
it's fucking Glastonbury Grove.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit! So had somebody formed a perfect circle? Like was it like a rough?
At some point before Mom bought the property, it was it was somebody had a little circle. I don't know what they were doing down there, but it was like a perfect little stone circle. That's and I mean, I guess unless the ultra terrestrials put it there and for specifically do this.
Go back and it's not there.
That's what it seems like. That's what I'm going with, And cool. So we hadn't done much work down there. I'd done a lot of meditation and stuff down there, but so we did the ritual down there, and it was great. It was interesting. Our redneck neighbors kind of like yelled at us for a second, but then I started waving that blade around and doing magic, and they were like,
"That's part of the gnosis is the kind of fear of just somebody walking in on you, holding a dagger with a fire and a cup of what looks like blood."
Yeah. Well, they were over in the corner where it's like anyone who would interfere, So
shoot your ass.
With my galactic rays, and so but that was really helpful because I have a kind of a fear of doing that kind of stuff publicly, even though I've done a lot of like performance art, noise concerts. I used to tour around and do kind of like, I'd strip like mostly naked and like beat
Would
myself
you?
up and like do crazy shit. You know
I
what I
didn't
mean?
know. I didn't know that.
You know what I mean? Going out here, yeah, those are the things I used to do for fun. But
That's sick.
to go out here and do it, where it's like it's a different sort of exposure that I'm
Oh,
not used to.
absolutely.
It's
It's a kind
maybe
of
a
curated crowd you get.
nature phobia, the phobia of being out
Yeah.
or something that I've only it's something to do with the COVID situation, where like
Hmm.
I got real a lot of us, most of us got real used to just sitting in the house and not doing
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. I'm
I think
sure a generation of children will
it
be
was
affected by this. Being
absolutely, and
never out. I mean, kids are rarely out playing in modern cities anyway.
yeah, yeah,
It's a new age, Bobby.
yeah,
It certainly
absolutely.
is. So,
But it's in ages like that, people tend to go inward, and some real gold can be found in there too. You know what I mean? But yeah,
absolutely.
you've definitely got to get out in the sun and grow and all that as a child, and
Yeah.
as a child of Babylon as
Get
well.
your knees scraped and
Yes, absolutely. So we did that. Then we did the 11 star ritual. Now, the new 11 star for Horace Mayotte Lodge is open for anyone to do. They have it on the HoraceMayottLodge.com, and it's a really great ritual. It's a visual, right? They do a different one every year, I think, and it's like a group visualization. You go and you visit Serpent Mound this year, anyway.
Okay.
And
So
that was yeah, and I think that was where the original 11 star was done. And what was interesting about that, and the reason that kind of drew me in, is because Groucho had done Agent 444, and Listening Post Alpha had done some work out there, and I thought, well, that's obviously a nexus point between the two groups,
mhm.
um, so I wanted to explore that, but I haven't. I'm going to explore that actual ritual this new moon. But last new moon, what we did was the old 11 star rite, which is just you do a filling of the thrones sort of thing with candles. You do some chanting and some stuff like that, and that was a really beautiful ritual as well.
Yeah.
Spruce that one up over time and kind of use that to do some listening posts. As well, to kind of like every once in a while go check in on them, and
Yeah.
say hi in the astral plane. Um, so we did that, and then near the end of that month, we got a message from the ultra terrestrials telling us to go ahead and start. We needed to do the work with the Temples Erigwen from the Grimoire Getty in the Voodoo Gnostic workbook.
Yeah.
So we've done that. We've been doing that work all month. And that all kind of came together in a really naturalistic way too. Um, and so what we're working on now is, working with vortexes, consciousness, projection.
So projecting your own consciousness, like a kind of
Yes,
astral travel.
yes, astral travel through vortexes that are created by the Zeragwin and our the spiders and
Yes, I
our
read.
communion with them.
I
Yeah.
read Leah, who is 777's recent report. The spider. It made me think of my nasty astral spiders, but I don't think they're anything. Well, spiders are spiders.
Well,
But
we're spiders, yeah,
yeah, I mean
and
these things are hideous, sort of
yeah. Well,
double-jawed things.
Bertio says that, and that might have been, you might have been picking up on some were spiders that are working the temples there, Gwen, because the
Who
thing about
knows?
that is that you're supposed to project yourself as a very horrifying
Oh
spider,
shit!
so that
Yeah,
yeah, so that you
yeah,
don't,
yeah. You
so that
scare them off.
yeah, so that you don't get attacked by like malignant vampires and stuff like that.
Well, see, that happened on a huge dose of mushrooms.
Mm,
So you are vulnerable. I mean, I would do some ritual beforehand, but nothing like a headless rite or something that really gives you
right.
authority. So it
Mm,
might be a good idea to actually not do psychedelics without doing some um, form of boosting yourself up magically.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I know I've been on here before and said like, well, they're really not for partying and stuff like that. But it's whatever opens you
Yeah,
up. I mean,
yeah.
I know when I first started probing into all this kind of stuff. Well, that's how I was using that kind of shit, and I had really amazing experiences that brought me to where I am right now. So I don't want to
Absolutely.
like, I don't want to put like a some sort of
Yes, start putting
restriction on
rules.
somebody's
Yeah,
probing
absolutely.
into those realms. But yeah, always be careful. Always be careful. I'm not telling you to wear a condom every time, but you probably
Yeah,
should. You know,
yeah, yeah.
that's all.
So, I also, one part of your work which I haven't quite grasped exactly what's going on, and you mentioned it the other day when you gave me my. I'm going to start doing proper, disciplined stuff about the altars,
Mm.
and so these easy. I think I know what easy means. It's like do easy, the William Burroughs kind of
It's a
idea.
double, it's all double meaning. So like
Hmm.
they're called the temple erogenous zones or the easy altars, and we spell the altar with an E to put emphasis on alteration, but also on the kind of psychic phenomenon that occurs with this, or that maybe it comes from. Whereas, like people with multiple personalities, they call them the multiple personalities their altar. And see,
Yes, of course,
and I
yeah.
think everybody is a sort of multiplicitous in their behavior, their actions, their, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the neurotic. And I'm projecting. That is a possibility.
Yeah,
But
sometimes happens.
yeah, but so when Lee and I started doing this work, we I we started picking apart aspects of ourselves and naming them, and some of them we would banish, and some of them we would honor. And
That's yeah.
yeah,
Leah talked about that in the very
and
first
there were
show.
and yeah, and uh, like I wouldn't say the names of some of them because I don't want to draw them, evoke them,
Of course.
because there were actual, uh, there was actual phenomenon associated with these beings, that were
Hmm.
being coming from us or attracted to us or something like that. And so we started slowly learning how to work with them. And if we couldn't work with them, then we would learn how to bind them, banish them, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so when I'm talking about the easy altars, I'm talking about the ones that we've kept, and maybe we should talk about banishing as well. If me and you can talk about that and how to, we're actually going to work through some of that stuff over the next year.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so the building an easy altar is just like building any other altar, except for it's supposed to be a direct mirror of some aspect of your consciousness or of your personality. And what you're doing is you're basically naming it, deifying it, and
Yeah.
you're giving it the same reality as a tulpa or a servitor,
Hmm.
and then you enter into communion with it, and it will do the work of alteration for you. Um, I guess it's really that simple.
Hmm. So you named my guitar, and I was like, how can a guitar be an altar? But it brings out the good musical, creative side of my personality.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And also the key thing about making an easy altar is that it has to be tied into to pleasure. But
Hmm.
if it's something that's not pleasurable. Well, so I mean that this is also confusing because like the next book we're coming out with is called The House of Red Cruelty. Well, how can red cruelty be pleasurable? Well,
Well,
because it's about the release of the menstruum and the release of the pressure and the release, you know what I mean, and um, the overcoming of pain, to get to
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not, we don't worship pain, and we don't, it's not
Hell no.
yeah,
But
it's not
yeah.
some
Oh,
sort of I mean, we're pretty hedonistic to a degree, to the degree that we're comfortable, and that's what we expect from everybody. And so
totally.
yeah, pleasure is number one. And when I see you're still going through a sort of a dissociative phase. But what's going on is uh, that pleasure and that relationship that you have with this sort of like supposedly inanimate object or whatever is creating this sort of third mind. You know, and
Absolutely.
that
And
happens with everybody. You can see somebody totally transform. Like I grew up in a musical family, and um, I would see people that were completely miserable all day long, completely transform as soon as they pick up a guitar.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And turn into like just these animals of the night, or whatever. Just like these
Absolutely.
beautiful,
Well, you
beautiful.
just fall into universal rhythms because I think the guitar fretboard is like a Kabbalah all of its own, you know? You
Absolutely,
can play bum notes that sound good. It's just infinitely, music. And I do think musical vibrate, it's vibrating the air for God's sake, like words. So
mm,
it can be very evocatory uh, and
yeah,
invocatory, yes, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
both, absolutely, yeah. And
Very
so
important.
you'll give it a name. You'll
I actually kind of have,
you'll
but I keep changing it.
yeah.
I haven't found the true
Uh,
name yet.
there might be a couple in there. There might be another one trying to be birthed out of the communion. Then that's
Yeah.
kind of how it works here. Like we have a lot. We have the temple room is totally full. It's like a spirit house, almost like uh, comparable to like the Kimbanda or spirit houses or something like that.
Wow.
And there's work going on in there all day, every day, whether we're in there or not. And
So, of course, the spirits stay, man,
it's a very
and
busy
talk to
spot.
each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So, is that a room that's dedicated to magic and art? And
Yeah,
you and
and
the
and
kids?
that's where we sleep. That's our bed.
Do the
It's a
kids go
technically
in
our
there,
bed.
or do you keep
Right.
them out of there?
No, they stay the fuck. Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't. Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes they'll come in, and anytime they come in, they're just like, "Wow," whoa, this. Yeah, it's too much, and yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, that we keep it's our space, and then we're spreading out, and over time, what I would like to do is as we get more members and more people who are interested, start sending some of these authors to other people to work
Well,
with.
you've given me a bit.
Yeah, yeah,
I've got my
absolutely.
bit.
And if when you join Temple BC, if you do the Temple banishment ritual, and then you give us the password at the end of the passphrase at the end of the house of every flower. Then we and get send us your PO box or your mailing address. Then we send you a piece of our first Temple BC erogenous zone, uh, named Perset here. And Perset here at one point was was one thing, and now it's another thing. But Perset here was sacrificed, and now he is being sent out Zagreus to members of Temple BC and people who are friendly to the Gnosis. And his body serves as our point of union.
Okay, so yeah, he's like our holy relic
Yeah, yeah, his
because
body
he
is our.
died for us.
Yes, exactly. He died for our sins, and we eat his
Love
body,
it.
our brain. Yeah, and so that if I consider you a member of Temple BC, whether you're a deacon or an honorary member or whatever, or just like a real good friend, then I'm gonna send you a piece of Temple's
Of course,
or set here's a gray use. But Steve was definitely the first person to receive a piece.
I've got that claim to fame. Who is Zagreus again? Again,
Zagreus, he was like down.
Zagreus.
Zagreus just means like I think like torn apart or something like that. Dionysus
Yeah,
Zagreus,
yeah, yeah.
as the Crowley talks a lot about him in his discussion of the Fool, and also in his discussion of lust, the lust card, I think, in the Book of Thoth.
I knew the word, but I just couldn't place it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, So we've talked about the Oilers. What else is in the LPA year one that might interest people, surprise them, blow their
There's
minds?
there's I mean there's a lot of stuff that actually happens, that we analyze. Like for instance, me and Leah live pretty close to a large industrial factory, and there were two explosions that corresponded with rituals that we were doing and stuff like that. The first one is kind of sexy, but I'm not really about that one. But the second one
Oh,
was really weird. It's like you don't want to be like, well, an industrial accident is pretty cool,
I know. Yeah, especially
it's
if
all
people
that.
were hurt and
Well, yeah, but the second one, I don't think anyone was hurt. The first one, people were definitely hurt, and it felt like the first one felt kind of more like an attack, honestly. But um, the second one was at the end of the year one sessions. I was editing the book, going back through and editing it all and compiling it. It's a big old book, 354 pages,
yeah.
um, 8.5 by 11, size of a textbook.
Is it
And
hardback or softback?
it's softback, yeah, yeah. And Steve doesn't have his yet. We've sent it to him, but he lives all the way in Scotland, so it takes him
Yeah,
in.
can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. And uh, where was I at? Oh yeah,
The book.
I I was almost done. I mean, I was pretty much finished, and I was just waiting on Groucho to send his last essay, which was about all kinds of cool stuff about that, tying together kind of his ideas and his experience of year one. Um, and it included things about the the 22nd degree of Freemasonry,
Yeah.
and which is the Knight of the Royal Axe, and some other things. The opening of the mouth ceremony, that has to do with Sishat, which was a major goddess name that you received,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that opened up a path for some major esoteric downloads.
Now, you
And
would call that an esoteric download.
yes, yes, it's like you're like I think Bertio was the first one to talk about esoteric. He calls it like esoteric research, and he gives you some spirits to work with that kind of help with that. And yeah, that's where I get that talk. But esoteric download, I think, is mine. It might be mine. I don't know. I'm going to claim it anyways. But
You poet
what happens
steal.
is, you'll get a word or a phrase or experience, and then you'll weigh it by the cipher, and then it opens up a whole, like, yeah, all these different inroads of information that kind of connect to each other to bring you closer to the gnosis, closer to Babylon and the city of
Yeah,
Plymouth.
it's really like in Twin Peaks. It's kind of exciting because you're piecing together parts of a never unfolding mystery, and it gets more complex. And more entities get involved. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, we're never going to find out who killed Laura Palmer. I'm sorry, I'm not going to divulge that information. Um, yeah, and yeah, that's part of my work, is to continuously generate mystery, you know.
yeah,
Um, and so, yeah, I'm also looking for answers, as we all are, and I'm just as much of an ignorant beast as most. But
well, yeah,
yeah, so where was I? What was I talking? Oh yeah, Groucho sends me this essay, and the morning he sends it to me, there's the second explosion over here at the factory, and
uh,
it's not a violent explosion, and it happens because of a power outage, and the only thing that is emitted this time is um, purple,
oh
purple
wow, yeah,
iodine. Yeah,
yeah,
purple
that's what.
iodine.
Mhm.
And purple, the color purple and the color ultraviolet have been very important to the whole mythos of the LPA and of my experience and Groucho's experience. And purple and the tribe of Dan, who supposedly like invented the color purple or whatever, are very important to the 22nd degree of Freemasonry.
Yeah.
So I took that as a
22's got a lot of tie-ins with the temple as well, of course, and with Catholicism
absolutely,
in general, being the paths on the Tree of Life and the Shadow Trumpet and
yeah,
all that.
yeah,
So you got all that as well.
yeah, absolutely, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I felt like that was kind of like the fireworks at the end of the, you know what I mean? It was like this,
Yeah.
that's it, you know.
And
So
and what
at the
was
end of
it?
the book, there's the last essay in the book is a little essay about that, and explaining my thinking about situations like that.
Because purple is one of the colors mentioned in the Book of the Law as well, isn't it? Now,
Yeah,
I think it used to be for. I know red used to be kind of for. They were both expensive dyes, but I'm sure purple was one of the most expensive. And in
purple was like
Romans,
the
yeah,
royal color. Yeah, it
yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
it
So
was it was hell. It was like magic, you know. It was a
yeah,
magic
it
color.
has always been my favorite color. Funnily enough, before I knew anything about
Yeah,
magic, I loved it as a kid.
it's beautiful. Yeah, it's my purple and green and like the hot like the ultraviolets and the violets and all that. Yeah, I love that stuff.
So, I mean, that's a massive year one, 390 odd pages. Did you
350,
say? Oh,
300,
350,
I
okay,
think that's
okay.
right. Yeah,
So, I mean, I can imagine that year two is going to be even bigger. It's going to have to get bigger and bigger every year.
yeah. I think between just with what me and Leah have produced since then, we're talking. Yeah,
You're talking, you
it's
do like literally,
yeah, it's gonna be a big old boy. Also, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you do literally 20 workings to my half one sometimes, or one, you know what I mean? You're very productive, very productive. So, and then you want to round up with Bobby.
Huh?
Oh, we said we were going to, but we said we were going to thank a lot of people.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you go ahead, Bobby.
I just want to run through. I'll go ahead and run through these books for the last, I guess, year and a half since 2021. The books that we've been involved in,
Yeah.
and kind of give shout outs to people that are involved. And the first people that published us were the Horace Mayout Lodge. This is the Silver Star Summer 2021, and it has our Enochian cut ups in it.
Yeah, they were very clever as well.
Yeah, right here. This is the chapter with our stuff in it, the Enochian
Yeah, I
stuff.
love the art that you do as well.
And this is actually this right here is the first time I ever contacted Steve. I think this is what I sent him.
Well,
And
yeah,
that this actually I did
Book of Every Flower.
in the Solomonic Circle
Yeah,
uh,
wow.
back in 2018. I sat in a circle with all this shit and just kind of put together a
Yeah,
yeah. That's obviously a reference. That's Bataille's Acephale, and I
I love
um,
it.
put the Wolf
See,
Mother's head on and stuff.
yeah.
And so this was the first book that we were in, and then we put out our first book that we put out by ourselves was the Book of Numbers.
Yes,
Yeah,
got that one.
and this has a lot of stuff that was inspired by uh, the work of Alan Greenfield and the television show Hellier. That it kind of got us into probing some of this ultra
There's
terrestrial
some Twin Peaks stuff in there, isn't
there's
there?
also some Twin Peaks. There's some Twin Peaks stuff in here. There's some stuff about like Mothman. There's some stuff about Kecksburg.
Mothman reminds me a bit of the factory blowing up, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
weird
Yes.
liminal events around
Yeah, and that's kind of like
explosions.
there is something about these like areas of toxicity that were once sacred spots to Native Americans, you know, and uh, yeah, there is. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I really do feel like it's like we're close. We're about to find out, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. The Western civilization is
Yeah.
trembling as I've gone. How you say you can't remember if you made something up or not, if it's yours. But I have this thing: the artistic imagination always trembles on the edge of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Every generation of artists and magicians, and I think, right, this is it, guys. We're definitely end times. Look at this. Look at this. So you can never
Yeah.
tell. Life goes on, man.
Also, this essay, some notes on Lam, English Kabbalah, and the mystery of the Crown of Hearts. This one hit
Oh
pretty
yeah.
hard in the occult scene, and so I definitely recommend anybody that wants to like just get into like how I think about the world and stuff. You know, you can check this book out, and I think it's the cheapest one that we've got, and
I'll put all the links in the show notes, of
and this
course.
book also wraps us back around to the Horace Mayot stuff because um, Andre Conscientia actually read this book, and he wrote another book called The Inner Gateways of Lam, which is out now on
Right.
Sirius Limited. The great Edgar Curval put this book out, and it's a beaut. I don't have it yet. They're sending me a copy, but it's a big old book, like 300 or 400 pages, and just
Crammed.
yeah, and he almost every chapter is named after one of the correspondences or the mystery in here, stuff that I kind of leave open or whatever. It's just kind of like suggestive. He goes in and he kind of synthesizes it with his own work. That he's been doing, like he did a couple of books, The Way of Ipsos and The Way of Abrahadabra, and then he's done a whole slew of stuff. I mean, this man is
Well, yeah.
extremely
He certainly seems
he's
like a outstanding. I mean, he looks pretty outstanding as well. He's a
yeah
beautiful man.
he is a beautiful man, and yeah the so he kind of synthesized his work, my work, Sean Woodward, Kenneth Grant, Bertio. You know, it's a master class. You know, it's an amazing book, and he was kind enough to let me write the foreword. You know, I felt like, well, I'm the least of these. You know, but this is real.
Well,
It was,
you don't.
and
I
it was
disagree.
it was cool. It was quite the honor, you know, and so
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
definitely I suggest that book as well. And then what Steve's holding in his hand, The House of Every Flower, and
Yeah.
this is mine and Leah's work. A lot of poetry and art by Leah specifically in here. A lot of cut ups, and this
Yeah.
is this is a book about our Aries and Taurus erogenous zones.
Absolutely, looks good tonight.
These are the entities you want to work with to plant the field, you know,
Oh, but
to plant the seed. And this is how you get into Temple Babylon Kronzon. This is how you get the link to Perset here, and
I
internet.
haven't even got the password yet. I haven't totally looked for it, to be honest. But
Oh, you didn't need it. Well, I mean, you were. I sent you the yeah. That's for the other Steve.
oh yeah, oh yes,
Yeah,
oh
no,
yes.
that's not for you, sir. You didn't need
Oh,
you didn't need a password. Come on.
oh, too kind.
I sent you, yeah, I sent you the ritual before you ever had the book, right? Like, I
Probably
think I
so.
sent it to you with the Perset here link. I think I
Yeah,
sent you like an actual paper of the. I can't remember.
yeah.
But
And what I like as well is, or not what I like, but what I think was synchronicitous. Like my channel and your online presence really started after I'd had a major epiphany in the summer of 2018. Well, all that year really would been, you know, I mean, that was before I met my ex. So I was being very, you know, my friend, let's call her Lato, who has got that beautiful house by the beach in the wilds of Scotland. Oh, that kicked off a major current for me, and I just kind of seemed to be attracted because I'd done an interview with Kath Thompson, who is very English Kabbalah, but she takes a totally different approach to what we do,
mm,
and it just seemed to, you know, uh, bump into you, and
yeah.
I resonated.
Well, I harassed you, but it was because
Not at all.
I came to you specifically because I had been listening to your show. I've been watching your show, like listening to it at work. You know, I would turn
Cool.
on it because, and I found out about you by looking up like William S. Burroughs or something one day, and you had done a podcast with some other dudes
Yeah,
about
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
air and
Yeah,
all the things that I like. So yeah, I was
exactly. We talked yesterday about both
yeah.
stealing William Burroughs novels.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you were a rock star to me. So like I was,
Oh, come on.
I thought, that I was like, well, I'm going to take a
Oh,
shot,
blush.
try to get this
Yeah,
guy's attention. Hopefully,
you did. I've been reading your posts. I think I've been liking them and reading your blog posts. Is it still there? Blue Rose, Black
the blog
Dress.
is not there. It will come
No.
back at some
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
probably within the next year.
Have you published all the stuff from that? Because I just
No, no, like
that's
yeah, that next year on the itinerary are 3 books, and that's what we're going to try to do every year until, we're just I don't know, dead or something. My I can't type
that's.
anymore. I'm like "Blah, blah, 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 I'm crazy now. So
No,
well,
we'll look after you, Bobby.
yeah, well, not too long ago, the sessions told me that I had 26 years to get down and do the damn thing. So I don't know.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if that means I'm going to die in 26 years or what. But anyways, so that kind of stuff like that will kind of put you to work too,
Yeah, absolutely.
But the plan is 3 books every year. And like I said, the first book will be a new book of numbers, a fresh book of numbers, and it'll be kind of short. This upcoming year, it's going to be a conglomeration of my Twin Peaks stuff, and it will have some of the stuff. It'll probably have like the introductory, what is LPA, in it, and it will have the stuff from the blog. Some of it edited, spruced up, given a nice new gloss of paint or whatever, and it will be specifically about the Twin Peaks stuff. And then the second book will be the Temple Grimoire, and it will be about the zone that we call the House of Red Cruelty, which it houses the Temple of Babylon Kronzon main altar, the Babylon Kronzon altar, where they meet and are locked in perpetual union. And then also the Ishu T Bonum, the good little Ishu, and and I'll be exploring that stuff for probably the rest of this year, and yeah. So, and then the third one will of course be the LPA Journal Year 2. So
Wow.
and also I wanted to hold on. I've got a visitor.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey, this thing's at 3:36.
Bring me the other thing.
Okay.
I have to take a break.
Okay. No
You
worries.
stop it, and then
Yeah. Do you want to stop now?
let's take a break, like
Okay.
10 minutes.
Okay. Cool. I think I know how to pause it.
Yeah, but I know you're definitely recording.
Yes. Yes, I am definitely recording. Yes. Okay. Go have a break, Bob.
Big one babysitting my little one, so
Headphones.
they're fine.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Awesome.
Can't find pause, so I'm just gonna. I mean, a big
Yes.
blank bit like that'll be
Yeah.
easy to edit out. So, how much do you? I feel like we're having a good chat. So, do you want to go a bit longer?
I want to continue. Yeah, I got a couple more books I wanted to plug, and a couple of more little tiny shout outs. This book, Tum Xantorum, this is a series that Sean Woodward is putting out. Sean Woodward, who I can't remember what his title is exactly in the Voodoo Gnosis, but he's a big guy in the Voodoo Gnosis, and he's written a lot of really wonderful books and put out a lot of amazing art. And I think the cover here is by the great Kyle Fight, amazing occult artist, and he's got a new book out too. The Advent of the Space Master, I think. Man, yeah, it looks great. It looks great. I haven't checked it out yet, but there's a essay in here by Dana Fox. It's called "The Valley of the Four Houses." Dana Fox, also an amazing Typhonian aligned artist and writer, doing a lot of digital work right now. But in that essay, I get a mention. He was posting some stuff about a weird experience he had, and I kind of laid out the EQ for him, and kind of set him on a path or whatever. And so I want to give Dana a shout out. He's got a new jam out right now. It's like a digital zine. Definitely check it out. And then then the last book of this year that's really the jam is I just want to show everybody the Listening Post Alpha Journal.
I haven't even seen
and Steve still doesn't have his copy because he lives so far away, but it's coming any
Show
day.
me how thick it is, man.
Yeah, it's a big old boy. Yeah, it's
Groucho's
the size of a text
drawing there on the front.
And it is a textbook. And there's all kind. Yeah, this is Groucho Trout. This is his cover, and this man is an amazing artist.
Yeah.
He posts around on Facebook quite a bit. You'll see him posted in the Typhonian groups. That's kind of how I met him. We came into contact because we were both mutants that were this kind of stuff, and this
Birds
is
of
really,
a feather fly together.
This is really, me and Groucho have kind of worked out like really what we were talking about last night. Like it's like a new form of writing. It's kind of based on the kind of wild gematria writing that you would see from Kenneth Grant, but it's definitely gone beyond that. It's
beyond that. Well,
but it's I wouldn't put myself on Grant's level. You know what I mean? But it's definitely we've definitely have mutated into a new realm that maybe Grant did. It would be even too crazy for Grant.
He was too crazy for Kenneth
Grant. He was kind of annoyed by the idea of English gematria as well, I think.
But it says right in Liberal to find the English value in letter and all that.
There's workable stuff in here. There's a grimoire that for planetary intelligences that I created. There's
is that the one that uses magical squares?
Yes, and that's going to unfold over the years in these journals. I wanted to go to a certain page. Leah's done a lot of amazing work in this book. She did work with the Angels. That was the most.
Was that the Gabriel working?
Yes, the work with Gabriel. Here's the beautiful. This is beautiful.
I recognize that.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks lovely and big and glossy.
Yeah, this session is called Servitors of Sopdet, and this Sopdet is the goddess whose name equals 93, who carries all this information that Steve kind of turned us on to by hearing the word Seshat, the goddess that we hadn't really paid much attention to, but they opened up this whole thing with Sopdet, Seshat, Sirius. That's a beautiful. And then on the very next page,
gorgeous.
It's all the art you get. Yeah, this book costs about $55 USD, but we're only making about $7 or $8 a pop off of it because Amazon is fucking will rape you. But it's worth it, man. This book is worth it. And anybody that's into anything Kenneth Grant, Typhonian, gematria in general, ultra terrestrials,
Burroughsian.
Burroughs. We've synthesized all this, and if you like my art, Leah's art, Groucho Trout's art. Man, this book right here. But I'll give you time to catch up, y'all will catch up one day, I guess. But this is, to me, this is the most important thing going on in occultism right now.
I absolutely believe you. I agree with you. I think it is. I think it's one of the only groups that's constantly pushing forward in new, unexplored areas instead of tramping over. Obviously other systems work and it's fine for other people, but I think just certain, be it your astrology at birth or be your temperament or your imprinting, some people are attracted to more artistic, creative, boundary pushing stuff, and I think Listening Post Alpha is definitely a voice of ultra-terrestrials, whoever they are, whatever they are.
Well, I 100% believe that I am possessed. I don't. Something happened in my life one day I was one person, and the next day I was all these others,
Yeah, it's because of
and I
all
had
the.
these talents that I didn't have before,
Yeah,
and
really.
it directly corresponds with doing magic. You know.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it just does. No matter. I've got a bad habit of expecting instant results. You do the ritual, you sit down, and boom. But it's not like that. I find a ritual takes 3 or 4 days to kick in, usually for me, maybe even longer. But then, the effects in the real world are tangible and undeniable.
Yes.
Chop up reality with magic.
And it's like, in the beginning of the LPA journal, when I was doing the spirit box work early on, pretty much me and Leah were doing it, and we posted some stuff on the blog, and weren't really sure what to do with it, and we were kind of talking to you about it, kind of talking to Groucho about it a little bit, and really, I had this weird experience, this dream experience on April 8th of 2021, where I came face to face with this like neon green, ultraviolet sort of entity in a dream. Of course, that's the weekend of
The
the
reception.
supposedly the reception, and
Not according to
we read
Richard
some.
Cole, but never mind.
Well, we read. I mean, and it's reasonable. I think he makes a good argument that it was more of a process, and I think he received something. That's kind of what he says
Oh,
too. Is
yeah.
that he received maybe the gnosis that week, or
Yeah.
and it kind of took him a while to suss it
I
out.
still see it as very much his most inspired text. I mean, it is on a different level to.
Yeah,
I mean, the Class A stuff's good, but Book of the Law just. I love poetry, and I don't like Crowley's kind of
yeah, he's kind of goofy
regular
sometimes.
poetry. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's a jewel of a poem.
yeah, and I've had a lot more fun just deconstructing the hell out of it, over the last few years. But if it didn't exist, then none of this would exist for sure.
Exactly. Post
And
dilemma. That's
definitely-
where we're at.
yeah. So the thing with ultraviolet is, I had this dream where it was this entity stealing a baby. I mean, it wasn't any of my children or like a baby that I knew. And it was kind of naughty. I don't know if it was necessarily really a baby, but that's how I was processing it.
Yeah.
And I found this gun and I tried to shoot it. And when I shot it, boom, it hit me in the head. And then I woke up with this crazy, and it was kind of taken back. And I had this crazy like pain in my head behind one of my eyes, and all that day. Then I woke up and I had all these like, kind of experiences and insights, and just one after the next. And it's in the journal. But what was the point there? Oh, but the birthday gun was a big part of it, and I figured out that ultraviolet, neon green, which were the colors that I was seeing. A lot of people don't see colors in their dreams. I see vivid colors, and always take note. But I was seeing ultraviolet, neon green in this entity, and then it turned out by the cipher, ultraviolet, neon green both equaled 147, which I had no fucking clue about that. I had looked up like red and black and blue and and I had never really made and then it led to this whole study of ultraviolet and occultism, and I didn't know that it had anything to do with the moon and all this kind of stuff. And in the middle of that, like that night, I think I did a listening session, and it said something about a birthday gun, and I had this image in my head that the birthday gun was this death whistle that Leah, like this, it was like a 3D printed Aztec death whistle that Leah had got me for Christmas, or not for Christmas, for my birthday. My birthday's in March, and I had just gotten it. I was like, what am I going to use this for? And so in my head, I was like, that's the birthday gun, And so I went out, and I had this vision in my head. Well, like they want me to go out and kind of like blow this. And I went out and I blew it directly at the moon, And I think that was like the cosmic trigger, and then only
literally
I realized, which is also documented in here, that the cosmic trigger equals the birthday gun or something, something like that.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and we've had all these weird experiences where like we found birthday guns and in strange place, like kids' birthday guns, that we
Yeah, yeah.
certain places, or they'll pop up again, like one in one of our sessions, like a name for some sort of like child's gun popped up, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that's what it was while it was and then later I go and I look it up, and the only version of it is a neon green birthday so I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's fucking, it's just stuff like
Yeah.
that, but that's kind of like the cosmic trigger thing is very important. I think on that date, which was April 8th, there's some sort of cosmic trigger that was pulled by Crowley originally on April 8th, and
Yeah.
then it continues throughout history, up to Listening Post Alpha, and what predates our birthday gun and our cosmic trigger, our point in that line is Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks came out on April 8th.
Oh, did it?
The original
I
Twin.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's covered in the What is LPA essay. I mentioned that like real quick, maybe in a footnote actually, I think, but it's there. But yeah, April 8th, that's when the Northwest Passage was the pilot was aired, and so
Wow.
it just all kind of lines up, and I think like Robert Anton Wilson's idea, this cosmic trigger, where you go and you do something that's out of the ordinary magically, and then it kind of sends out all this different energy that's like,
I think it opens a part of your mind that you weren't able to access before,
and
like
that
the
too,
higher circuits.
yeah, and that was kind of like the pain in the eye and all that kind of stuff. It was like, I was being affected by an ultra terrestrial. It was like the pain was sort of like a radiation or whatever, and but it definitely led to some esoteric payloads for sure.
Absolutely.
And this big old book that we have over here, and this new form of communion that we call Listening Post Alpha. Now, none of us are under any sort of like delusions that we're actually like agents of.
No. I have to mention the sense of humor that is in
Yeah.
in your work and our work.
And part of a thing is turning delusion towards knowledge, and like one of my like covert goals, I guess, would be to like have people who are really into some of this QAnon stuff and shit like that to turn them on, because you see,
reprogram them.
yeah, like to show them that
or unprogram them. Sorry.
Yeah, gematria is not. It's not really that. It's not great for conspiracy theories and stuff, but it is really great for self knowledge and spiritual attainment and whatnot. So yeah, I would like to hijack those kind of movements with this kind of thinking, because it is essentially the same. It's magical thinking is pretty much the same all around. It's just different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all
focus.
are.
What you're focused on.
If you're actively engaged.
If all you do is watch Fox News and shit, and that's your altar, then and it can be just. And what I'm doing with the Twin Peaks is like, hey, there's other things on TV that are, but at the same time, all the experiences I've had are real with that. But it's like trying to like.
You're looking for.
I can go with that. I mean, I could have wrote this whole book without ever mentioning Twin Peaks. We could have done this whole work
without. That's a very small part of the work.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get people into something different. And the payloads with Twin Peaks always lead you into more the deeper spiritualisms of David Lynch with transcendental meditation, Buddhism, and Mark Frost, who is like a theosophist, and he puts in all the he has the two books, the Secret History
books.
And the Secret History of Twin Peaks has all kinds of stuff about the Babylon working and Thelema and whatnot. So, I mean, that's part of the turn on, that I'm doing.
So you want to be a secret doorway.
Absolutely, and that's that's one of my jams. That's what I'm all about. Is turning people on,
Yeah, well, you certainly turn me on, baby.
The Beatles song, I'd love to turn you on,
Yeah.
That's me,
Yeah, you're the Pied Piper of Kingsport LPA, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great message, Bobby. It's very positive. It's very all-encompassing. I love your work. As you know, I'm really sorry I fucked up the show last night with Groucho and Leah, but
Yeah.
obviously your channel is my home. And
We'll make it up. We'll make it up.
my channel is your home. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this
I would,
again.
and I hope you can maybe just get Groucho by itself one day because
Oh yes, he deserves an interview with his
he
headless
has
right
deeper
and all
insights
that.
that are he has deeper insights than me often, like sometimes, and we intersect at points and we differ in points, and
You
and
need
that's,
that, you need different personalities and energies to form an
absolutely.
effective
That's
group,
why I
you
love
know.
That's why I
Yeah.
love you. That's why I love Leah.
Yeah.
It's like that. Yeah, being able
We're
to.
all crazy. We're all fucking crazy, man.
Yep. But all geniuses, the Super Psychedelic Genius Club
Oh yeah.
effect, as you prophesized.
Yeah, no, and
You know,
333 all over it, and
yeah,
yeah, that was just a straight up description of a trip vision, and it turned very synchronistically with you appearing on the scene.
yeah, and
So,
that's in this book. That's in the
oh
listing.
wow, yeah, you put it in. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool,
that's
cool.
in there. That's
Yeah,
all that a lot of that stuff from your blog that you sent us that you were like, man, this kind of like seems like it's talking about us or like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I put it's all in there. Yeah.
And
So
it was, I think, is it the cut up you've put in?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It was the cutting up that made it potent like that.
yeah, and the stuff about Belaroth and Thosis
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be going up for the winter solstice to my old witchy friend Lato, and we're going to be doing what we usually do, a ritual, psychedelics. It's the first time we're going to do like the both of us. One purifies, one consecrates. We both say our own bits, you know.
Yeah.
That's going to be great. So I'm really looking forward
Awesome.
to a magical solstice. Love you, Bobby. Love you too, Leah, Groucho, everybody that supports us consistently online.
Thank you.
I'll forget people, but Cliff Burns, Timothy Foster, Sue Terry, people that just. I'm not going to go on naming people, but those are three that pop.
Interdimensional Clown Collective.
Oh, the Club Collective, yes. There's a lot of
Yeah, there's
nice
a
people.
yes.
We're finding a little scene here, finding the others, as Terence would call it. Right,
It's very important.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna let you go, Bobby.
All right.
Fantastic show.
Much
Loved it.
love.
Right. See you soon, man. Bye bye.